Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to a movie film commentary track. It's been a while, but my name is Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall. We're here to talk through... Hey, Brian, this commentary has been a couple months in the making.
It has, but it just builds anticipation, right?
Now, this basically started as me being like, hey, Brian, there's a new Rambo movie coming out. And it's coming out right around the time of my birthday. So, it's like a birthday present to me. Why don't we record a commentary track for First Blood? Mm-hmm. And Brian was like, no.
How about no, Zachy?
No, we did try several times to kind of get it on the calendar. And it morphed from birthday present to a Christmas present.
Yeah. Well, and it's obviously... we want to stay on top of the show, right? When like a big release comes out that we want to talk about. So that kept, if we had time to record something, we had to do that. So this kept getting kicked down further down the street. But hey, the year, we still got a couple weeks left in the year and we are getting it done.
We are keeping our word. And it, in a way it works out because we got delayed to the point where like Rambo Last Blood was in theaters for, I think, like 4 days.
Right.
So I was like, well, if we wait long enough, it'll be on home video before you know it. And here we are. By the time you're listening to this, you can probably purchase it, at your nearest Walgreens, which is where you buy your movies. I don't know. Do they sell movies at Walgreens? I don't know.
I think so. Don't they have like a spindle?
I feel
and you
like
can get sort of like the Barbie.
A spindle?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That's where you go to buy your Rambo movies.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You're kind of blowing my mind, actually, that this is... You're right. This is probably... Since we've been talking about this, it is probably now available for purchase. That's crazy.
That fast. You're at Walgreens, you buy your Flonase, your Benadryl,
yes,
a pack of Trojans, and Rambo Last Blood.
Happy New Year, everybody.
So here we are. So we're now Rambo Last Blood. I have many thoughts on that, which I have shared on the regular show. But First Blood,
sorry,
no Rambo in the title.
Yeah,
is a very good movie. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I had. There's a few 80s movies that I just kind of didn't see. I was a little too young, or I just missed them, or whatever. I'd say the two biggest ones that Zachy was really passionate about that he has brought into my life was RoboCop and Rambo First Blood, amongst many. But the DVD I'm going to be watching as we do this is one that you bought for me.
Oh wow, how funny!
Yeah, so I love it, and I'd seen it and I knew that I liked it, but I revisited it last night because I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to talking about this with you.
Nice. And another fun bonus is that the movie is relatively short. So
yeah, about 90 minutes.
We won't have to talk people's ear off about this movie. So we are watching First Blood, the original First Blood, 1982. If you want to watch along with us, please go ahead and do that. I am queued up on my end. I figure we'll just dive in. And
well, actually, Zachy,
yes.
Here's a funny thing, and we hadn't talked about this off air, but we'll share this. I think this will clear up some things for some listeners. The funny thing about our commentaries is the fact that we, unlike our regular episodes, we don't do ads in the middle because we want you to be able to watch the movie uninterrupted should you choose to sync us up.
Good point.
However, with the site that hosts our podcast, if you do not choose to put an ad in the middle of the episode, they will put one there for you.
Yes.
So for past commentaries, I've been told that as we have started, an ad has just appeared in the middle of it. Okay. So for this one, we are going to be on top of it, and we're going to throw to an ad now. And then when we come back, we will be getting into Rambo First Blood uninterrupted for the rest of the episode.
Okay.
Sound good?
We go. Sure.
All right. Let's see what they're selling us today.
And we are back, and let's get this party started.
Let's do it.
So I am queued up, as are you, Brian. Folks, if you want to watch along, you know the drill. We'll try to keep the conversation interesting enough that hopefully you can listen to it independently of the film. But if the fancy strikes, then hey, join us as we watch. So we will go on 3. Brian, ready?
Ready.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, play.
All right.
Now, kind of interesting. There's no studio titles or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's-
right into credits.
Right into credits, Mario Kassar and Andrew Vanya, and they independently funded the film, and so they didn't need a big studio to release it.
And quite a fund it was. I was surprised to look up that this was a $15 million budget.
Which was pretty substantial back then.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars just 5 years earlier
Yep.
was $17 million.
Yes.
So it's kind of amazing.
Now we come in on Sylvester Stallone walking the distance, but I want to point out the music by Jerry Goldsmith. Which it's a great piece of music.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's really. I mean, for the action, it's sort of bombastic and supports the feeling, but also it's stirring, like the drama, the dramatic pieces, and then even over the end credits, there's a song.
Yes.
Where the lyrics are a little, kind of corny, I guess
Right.
you could say, but it's like the music is like really good, and it's the score basically with lyrics over it.
Yes, and I think what Goldsmith did, and by the way, real quick, look at our first shot of John Rambo.
I know, I was
smiling.
surprised. He's smiling. He looks like he's in a good mood. Well, he's about to go see his friend, he thinks.
Yes, and the Rambo character has sort of become an icon of this robotic killing machine, right?
Yeah, a grimace. I mean, you wouldn't see a smile on his face.
Yeah, and where this film starts compared to where the franchise ends with this last film is about as far as you can imagine.
Right.
Unfortunately. But that's really important to realize is that this film was not made with a franchise in mind. It was it was a character piece.
Right.
And it is an action film, but it's realistic action.
Yes. Yeah, it's all motivated by behavior.
Yes.
For sure.
So going back to the music, the theme that Goldsmith came up with is very haunting and it's very sad. Mm-hmm. And I think the ways in which he's able to take that music and just based on how he orchestrates it, it can become action music. Mm-hmm. And it becomes stirring. But the underneath it all is just the sadness of this person who has lost everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Rambo is a tragic character. And I think that's really illustrated well in this film.
Yeah, and having just rewatched it, and I have the end of this movie in my head.
Yep.
And the way that he looks and the way that he's feeling. Seeing this now, just him rifling through his pockets with his junk, and even the way that when that young woman walked away and he kind of almost gives her a little smile and nod like, hello.
Yeah.
It's just it's so stark, the difference.
And I think, the when the film came out was 1982, so it was 10 years after the release of the book. And I think that 10-year difference shows, like, the book is very different from the film.
Yeah, I was looking forward to getting into this with you. Because I know you've interviewed the author, is David Morrell?
David Morrell, yeah.
Morrell. Yeah, which was a great episode. I recommend people look that up. That's a Nostalgia Theater episode. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and that was a conversation that I had wanted to have with him ever since the early 2000s when I heard his commentary track on this film.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I was wondering, even before we get into the differences, what his opinion was on the movies.
So he likes all of the movies except for the last one.
Oh, really? Okay. So even with the direction, it went to a more action-oriented.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was able to find a way in to connect it back to his version. Although, I mean, the novel, a spoiler, I guess, but the novel First Blood ends with Rambo, who's, by the way, he's not John Rambo in the book. He's just Rambo. His first name is actually never mentioned. But he dies at the end of the book.
Right.
And it is tragic, but it's also not, because he is deeply damaged to a much greater degree than what's depicted in this film. Mm-hmm. And so it's sort of like that's the only ending that you could have had.
So my read on this, and I'm no expert, but it seems, he gets almost activated accidentally in this movie, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, in the book, he's just dangerous to begin with kind of a thing, or is he looking to start a war?
It's the same in that he does get activated.
Okay.
However, he gets activated to a far more lethal degree in the book.
Sure.
Right? Because in this film, Rambo's body count is 1.
Right.
And it's by accident.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's a very important choice that Sylvester Stallone made. Mm-hmm. Right? So remember, they spent 10 years trying to get this movie. At one point, they wanted Steve McQueen to star in it. Which there's a scene later in the film where Rambo's riding around on a motorcycle, which is basically put in there to get Steve McQueen on board, right? Because he was a motorcycle aficionado, and it reached a point where McQueen himself was like, "I'm just too old," and he was sick at that time, so it didn't work. But when Stallone gets on board, the center of gravity shifts because Morell's book is a two-hander. So the character of Teasel, played by Brian Dennehy in the movie, who is in the book, he is chief of police. He's not a sheriff. Mm-hmm. So I think the thought by making him a sheriff, it's like the sheriff of Nottingham.
Right? Interesting.
And so unconsciously, there's the sheriff of Nottingham is going after Robin Hood, who's a good guy. Mm-hmm. Right. But the book is more. The book is told literally, like, one chapter is from Teasel's point of view, one chapter is from Rambo's point of view.
That's really fascinating. I kind of like that. And I was thinking about the book while I was watching Rambo. As he goes further and further descending into his violence.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the book and wondering what it would be like to read, knowing what is he thinking right now?
Yeah.
I like that idea. That's great.
And specifically, the book gets into the fact that Teasel is a Korean War vet. So, I mean, they are both military, right?
Right, which is not... You have to find details in the background to piece that together in the film.
Yes.
And
the details are there, but again, it's the film takes a much more centered protagonist-antagonist role, right? Uh-huh. Now, that being said, I think for the most part, Teasel is not a villain in this film.
Yeah, he comes across as kind of a jerk.
Yeah, right.
But I'm again, it's so interesting watching a movie and then just basically restarting it and seeing it again from the beginning and seeing how. So watching Dennehy's character right now. Well, by the way, another speaking of actors, I guess Gene Hackman was considered for this role too, which I can totally absolutely imagine.
Right.
But there's something about Brian Dennehy. He's really, I really like it. I really like what he does. And here it's sort of,
so right here, look at this moment. Okay. So Dennehy takes him across the bridge. He's like, all right, off you go. Right. And he's cordial. He's being kind of a dick, but he's cordial.
That's about what I was just about to say. Yeah.
Right. But Rambo makes a choice.
Yes.
And when you think about it, Rambo's not trying to be a jerk. Rambo's just like, give me my dignity.
Right.
Rambo's like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because he says, I want to eat. Right. And then he's like, all right, well, there's a restaurant 30 miles away from here.
Yeah.
He's like, can I eat here?
Right.
Yeah.
Now that being said, this whole notion of, people might get the wrong idea seeing you, looking like that and wearing those clothes. Like, by 1982... I don't know that America's relationship with Vietnam vets was what it was in 1972.
I thought about that because when he said it, I wasn't entirely sure what he meant because I'm looking at through my own age lens.
Yeah.
Where I know that sort of changed our position, feeling of soldiers and whatever. And so but then it occurred to me at the end, that's what they were getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
so
and
do you
I-
think that's from the book, kind of?
That's very much from the book because Morrell was prompted to write the book because he was a college instructor who, again, we're talking late 60s, early 70s when he starts writing the book, and he has students who have come back from the war and who've been dealing with trauma, right? And bear in mind, I mean, PTSD was not a thing back then, right?
Right.
It was called Vietnam Syndrome.
Wow.
Like the mental and emotional issues, right? So really, this film is the first time PTSD is depicted in a film.
Wow, that's kind of fascinating.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And so this right here, Galt, the sheriff, he's just a straight up dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Now this knife right there, it's it has sort of an unassuming place right here, but it becomes this iconic piece of sort of Rambo arcana.
I was going to bring it up later, but I've never had a need for a knife. But watching this movie, I was like, man, I really would love to have that knife. Like
that knife specific.
Well, it's because it's like he opens it up and later uses it as a compass, and then he has the things inside the hilt or the handle, and then he sticks it into the wall and he uses it as a torch. And I was like, that is a handy dandy knife.
I remember thinking that. Now I've mentioned this on the regular show, but I watched this movie in the theater. I was visiting my grandparents in India, and this would have been probably 85 or 86, and I saw it in the theater. So I was like 5. Mm-hmm. And I'm always fascinated by that. The fact that I was allowed to go watch a movie called First Blood. Right. The word blood is in the title,
Right.
And at this moment right here, well, it comes up in just a little bit, but we're seeing the onset of Rambo's PTSD. Mm-hmm. Right? And the moment when he just breaks, I remember very distinctly, and I'll point it out. When I seen it in the theater, I was just horrified,
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
And here's David Caruso.
Yeah, it took me a second. I knew that I recognized him, or it was his voice and a little. I mean, he looks so young.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to make the connection.
Yeah, he doesn't have his gravelly, tempo and the one-liner that we need.
Yes,
Right.
yeah,
right before the Who song.
yeah. Put on his sunglasses.
I mean, watching this where they are being so dismissive of him, they're like, "What is he, a soldier?" Like that feels very out of step with our current sort of like how culturally we view veterans, right? But I think it's worth pointing out that I think the Rambo films, to some extent, played a role in having that conversation about how vets had been mistreated.
Yeah, I was having memories. I've read several interviews with Stallone because he's a fascinating interview.
He really is. Yeah.
He did over 10 years ago, I think when Rocky Balboa came out, he did a week-long sort of Q&A on Ain't It Cool News. And I feel like I remember him, whether it was that or something else, talking about how a lot of veterans have thanked him for this movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's hard to imagine in that context, that this being that groundbreaking and people finally seeing something that they can, feel some catharsis from.
And catharsis is really the applicable term, especially as it pertains to, the final moments of the film.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a question? I'm sorry, unless
no, please.
I don't want to interrupt.
Go ahead.
So watching him now, so this was interesting. As I was watching this, like you said, he makes a decision to walk back into the town, and you imagine for his dignity. And now he's in the police station. He's unwilling to have his fingers be printed for record. And then he's just sort of taking the paper and wiping the ink off his fingers as they're telling him to stop. Like, what's your take on what is he thinking right now? Like, what is he feeling? Like, why is he refusing to do this? Is he being stubborn? Is he just?
I mean, I think when it's you have to imagine that he has been kicked around in some way, shape, or form ever since he's been back, right? And he's been, he's been back from Vietnam for however long, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that moment when he goes across the bridge, that's in hero's journey terms, he's crossing the Rubicon, right?
Right.
He knows it's not going to be a pleasant thing. But he when he walked across the bridge, he took on whatever was going to come with it. Mm-hmm. And that's why he's being stoic.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, and a phrase that Morrell used in the commentary track for this film, which I've carried that with me in film analysis and lecture, is righteous vengeance. Mm-hmm. And what this first chunk of the movie does so effectively is it puts you clearly on Rambo's side. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because he is so passive.
Right.
Right. And so then when he breaks, it's righteous vengeance because everything. No, right here. Okay, so I remember being 5.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Okay. Now bear in mind, my brother was like, "Oh, this is Rocky." That's the other thing.
So you're like watching Rocky get tortured in a prison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So right. Coming up right here.
Yeah, and for people who are not watching along, it's where the police officers are going to shave him, and they're sort of roughing him up, and we have these quick flashes of him in a Vietnamese prison camp, being like strung up and
they want to shave him with a straight razor without even giving him cream. So so right here he's having a flashback to this Vietnamese guard who's about to right here, and right there he's like. Nyah!
And then your brother leans over. That's Rocky.
Yeah,
right.
So I remember I remember distinctly being horrified.
Yeah, I can
as
imagine.
A little kid.
Yeah. And as I was watching the film last night, I was thinking, like, I wanted him to just cooperate so he could get out of there.
Yeah.
But then when this happened and now he's actually fighting the guards, I was like, I was somewhat satisfied because I think they all could have used a kick in the balls.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, right.
Now you can't walk back from this.
That's right. But now, you use the phrase, he's activated, right?
Yeah.
And that's really, like, it's like they flipped a switch, you know?
Yes.
It's kind of interesting because one of the things he does on his way out the door, he grabs his knife.
Yep.
Gotta have the knife.
One of these guys, I guess he elbows, right? And then he really broke the actor's nose.
Yes, that's right. Right there.
Is it this guy?
Yep, right there.
Yeah, ooh, and it looks good. I remember even thinking last night, I was like, oh, that looked good.
Whoops. So right here, the music just crescendos.
Yes.
And good. It's the same. It's that mournful music from the beginning, but now it's an action piece, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I like this, too, because these don't feel like set pieces, even though, I mean, you could define them as that. It's like, no, he's got to get away, quicker. He jumps rips a guy off a motorcycle, rips away. It's not fanciful, you know? It feels more slapdash and necessary.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that moment we just saw where Teasel, stops him from shooting.
Yes.
He's like, no, you're going to hit some people, right? So, again, it's one of these things where I think the movie does a very good job of making Brian Dennehy a person.
I agree. And I was hating him as I was watching it, but they do have enough moments where he stops to talk, usually with Troutman later, where you start to understand.
Yeah, like I definitely don't think the movie ends and you like him.
No, yes. Unlikable, yes. But you also got to look at where... it's he kind of started it.
Yes.
In a way, but then at one point when someone's doing these things, you have to like keep the peace. And it's the old. There's a difference between an antagonist and a villain, right? Good. Yes. Great point.
Right.
Great point.
And I think that's Sheriff Teasel is clearly an antagonist and he's not a good guy, but to classify him as a villain, I think mischaracterizes the scenario, which is it's relatively contained, right? Like Rambo, the second film, which was very different from this one. Rambo basically goes back to Vietnam and wipes out the entire Vietnamese army, right? Mm-hmm. This is not that.
Right.
And it's very inadvertently comical when you jump from this movie to that one. Mm-hmm. Because you're like, what movie did you guys think you were watching, you know?
Right. But we should point out real quick, so that stunt where the motorcycle flies over the tracks.
Yeah.
then the cop car follows. The stuntman who did that in the car broke his back.
Ouch.
Bernie E. Dobbins. And so I looked it up. I was like, oh no, is that the end of his career? I'm like, did he live? And thank God he did. And so I went on his IMDb, and he has many credits afterwards.
Oh, that's good.
Including Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, of all things.
Really?
He was the stunt coordinator on that. And then Running Man, Red Heat, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Commando, so a lot of other stuff.
Okay, so he's
But
done
then
okay.
they didn't even use that take in the movie. They redid it again because they thought the jump was too unrealistic, and so they modified it a
That's
bit.
the worst.
Isn't that insane?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So you
And that, by the way, too, the car tumbling right there, that was not planned.
but you can't plan something like that, right?
Yeah, it that actually happened, and so the director's like, "Oh, let's use it." And so they took the cars upside down, like, Denny, get in the car, had him get out. But that was interesting.
The director, by the way, you mentioned. So this film was made by Ted Kochev, who I would say that this is probably the most prominent movie in his filmography.
You know, I would say alongside Weekend at Bernie's. He did Weekend at Bernie's?
I did not know that. I just saw that.
I saw that this morning. I was like, get out.
That's kind of funny, to be honest.
Isn't that amazing? But yes,
yeah,
I jest. You're totally right.
I didn't know he did Weekend at Bernie's. That's hilarious. But he kind of, primarily TV. Like, he's done a lot of Law and Order.
Yes.
But I actually, to just to underscore the point, I think there is it's weird because at the time this film came out, it was quite bombastic and it was a big spectacle and all the explosions and everything. But it really, I mean, it feels very small scale now.
Right.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I like that the scale is, I say this all the time. You can get your arms around it.
I absolutely agree, and that's what makes it a nail biter, because it's not like he's making leaps that no human could make. And
yes,
like when he's scaling that cliff wall, you can imagine the version where it's like he has to do some sort of superhuman feat to get to the other side or whatever. But it's like, no, he's like on this wall, he's trapped, and he falls. And it feels all the more dangerous because of it.
Right. So you talk about the use of the knife. It really does end up being this thing that, at least having that knife allows him to, create a ramshackle thing for him to wear, and like every possible thing that he could benefit from.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, when you say sort of, it feels smaller now, and the budget, I was just amazed that it cost so much money, but worldwide, this movie grossed $125 million. I mean, 1982. That's humongous.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is this was during the midst of Stallone's Rocky era. Mm-hmm. Right? I think Rocky 3, when did Rocky 3 come out? Was that 83?
I'm not sure.
So this would have been before Rocky 3.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is that Stallone, he had not had a huge amount of, Rocky 3 is 82 also.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he had a busy 82.
Yeah.
So First Blood was October of 82 and Rocky 3 was May of 82.
Wait, say that again?
Rocky 3 was May of 82.
Oh, okay, I see.
So it was a couple months earlier.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he had a good 82, right? Because before First Blood, he really had not had a hit other than the Rockies.
Right. Was this, Staying Alive? Was that before this?
Staying Alive.
Yeah.
Staying Alive is, yeah. And he didn't act in that, right?
Oh, he only wrote it.
He directed it.
Oh, directed it. Okay. I knew he had something to do with it. I thought it was like I see. Oh, of course. That's, Travolta.
Right.
Here we go. Compass. I'm like, knife. Very cool.
Right.
Can I point out, too, I was thinking about this. Making this movie just looked really unpleasant. I mean, it looks really cold
and
wet.
wet.
This damp, northwest woods. Looks scratchy.
Right.
Like, this just looks like it was not a lot of fun to make.
So by the way, Staying Alive, that was after this. That was
Oh.
83.
Okay.
But like between Rocky, the first Rocky, and Rocky 3, he did Rocky 2, but he did like Paradise Alley and Nighthawks, which is actually pretty good. And like nothing really Fist, right? Bunch of stuff that nothing really happened, right?
Right.
Of course, after First Blood, he did Rhinestone, and he's made a lot of bad choices in his career. Now that I think about it, I mean, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. I don't know how anybody could have thought, like,
Which is kind of there's like a legend that goes along with that, right? With the rivalry with him and Schwarzenegger.
yes, that's right.
And so apparently they were trying to mess with each other and get each other's roles, and Schwarzenegger pretended to have interest in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot to try to get Stallone to do it. And so with no interest in it at all, Stallone was like, "Oh, I've got to do this movie." Or I'm sorry, Schwarzenegger was like, "I got to do this movie." So Stallone's like, "I got to do Stop or My Mom Will Shoot." And Schwarzenegger's like, "Fine, let him have it." And then he makes it, and of course, we're still laughing about it today. So
Thank you, Arnold, for that.
But despite all the misses he's had, I feel like he hasn't become any less prolific.
Well,
Sylvester
that's
Stallone,
that's the thing, and this scene right here is actually kind of an important turning point for the character.
Yes.
In terms of what's about to happen, so we can talk about that in just a second. But yeah, I mean, the fact that Rocky came out in '76, and here we are, almost 50 years later, and Stallone is like, people know who Sylvester Stallone is, and yeah, he's made choices, but he's not a joke of an actor,
Right.
And to have a career with that much longevity, I mean, that's something. You can't undervalue that.
Right.
Like, look at the latter action heroes that sprang up in the wake of Stallone and Schwarzenegger, like Van Damme or Seagal, right?
And he is one of the few, I mean, maybe it's essentially just him and Schwarzenegger, as far as I can tell, that could still get a movie made now.
That's right.
And it might not be a worldwide sensation anymore, but you're still going to get butts in seats. Like, they are
Right.
they've earned a lifetime of loyalty from viewers.
That's really true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this right here, right? Again, we talk about righteous vengeance. I mean,
This
they've
friggin'
done. Yeah, we hate this guy so
Yeah.
much.
They do a good job, though, of then setting him up and making us feel that way, because if he's going to die, even though it's kind of an accident, we're not going to turn on Rambo.
And that's this is something. It's like an action movie trope.
Yes.
Where you set up a really awful bad guy, you have the hero, have that person dead to rights, and then they'll do the thing where like, no, you're not worth it, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But then the villain will like draw the gun or something, and
Yes.
then he has to shoot him.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's sort of like have your cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. So that's what this is here, where yes, we want him dead, but we don't want actively killing him on our conscience.
Yes.
So this is like a split the difference type of thing.
By the way, that's insane.
Yes.
This stunt of him literally leaping from this ledge. I was thinking of this stuntman, like, wow. What's interesting too is him falling. Then his plan is to leap and to land sort of in this pine tree and ride the limbs down to soften his blow. And
Yeah.
of course, he gets injured. But in real life, apparently, Stallone actually cracked a rib doing this, which made me realize, even though the movie does show the injury here, he does get injured from this. A lot of times in movies, they'll have an actor do this, or like the character do this, and you think, oh, yeah, that makes sense. You ride the tree down, they're okay, and they run away. Right. But then having the actor actually perform part of this stunt, and you're like, no, like,
Yeah.
it looks like it would work, but no, you really break something.
Yeah, you might die. That's
yeah,
not a, that's
yeah,
not a
it's
good
not
idea.
as easy as it looks. Which I appreciate about this story. He's not the Rambo that we joke about now as sort of this, Rambo, where he never gets hit by a bullet and he can
Right.
take anything. It's like in this one, no, he gets pretty banged up.
Well, the popular perception of Rambo has become the Weird Al / Charlie Sheen
Yes,
parody, right?
right.
the thing where you shoot at him and he catches the bullet in his mouth and he spits it back at you and that kind of thing. you know?
Yes. Or in UHF also where he that's also quite a stunt.
Yes.
Where, he is like 3 feet away from someone firing a gun right at them and not hitting him.
Yeah, right.
And then he pulls out the bow and arrow and blows the guy up.
See, okay, so this moment right here, I think it's pretty interesting because the fact that Rambo like goes to look at him, but look at what's happening on Rambo's face as he looks at him. Right, he's having another one. You hear it in the soundtrack. It's kind of this buzzing. He feels like he's back in Vietnam.
Yeah, seeing more gore.
Yeah. And just as a matter of practicality, he tries to get his jacket.
Yeah.
And
that guy was ordered not to shoot, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Dennehy keeps telling everyone to stop shooting this whole movie.
It happens a few times here.
Yeah. Yeah. But... And I kept thinking as I was watching this, even knowing where the story was going, I was like, ugh, like each thing that happens is just like a worst case against Rambo. I was like, no.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's... Morrell was trying to make a broader point in the book where, Dennehy is, in essence, Dennehy Teasel, the character, is a representation of the American military in Vietnam, and Rambo is, like the military is just completely, is unable to process how to function in Vietnam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, in essence, Rambo is meant to signify, in a way, like the native Vietnamese population.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? They're just completely out of their element.
Right.
And so there's a broader critique of American foreign policy that's woven into the story. Right? And most of that gets sort of bleached out, obviously. Right? And you instead you have something much more primal. But again, if the book is jumping back and forth, here's Teasel, here's Rambo, well then it's going to be a much more you don't really know who to root for type of thing. Or who to root against, maybe that's a better way of putting it. But here...
I mean, I find myself watching this. I don't want the police to get hurt.
Yes.
But I want him to get away.
Yeah, well, and especially, like, the majority of the cops, right? I mean, certainly David Caruso's character.
Yes.
David Caruso especially is throughout, he's like, guys, take it easy. Leave him alone,
Yeah.
And they're just, they seem like good-natured goobers for the most part,
Yeah.
I mean, even later in the film, we get, like, the weekend warriors. And they're idiots, but, you don't want them to get killed.
Exactly.
I mean, it's to me, I'm endlessly fascinated by this whole franchise. I've written about it before in multiple venues at this point. It's the fact that this is where we started, right? Look at Caruso's like excited. I knew there was something about that guy.
Yeah. Well, they find out he's Green Beret.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And all the other guys are like, uh-oh.
And, that's the funny thing, right? They could have put him in holding and just let him sit on his ass, right? And you have to imagine, going back to what you were asking earlier, maybe that's what Rambo was thinking, right? He didn't think they'd be just shitting all over him.
Right.
He was probably like, they'll put me in holding, they'll find out who I am, they'll let me go.
Right.
I shouldn't have to wave my credentials in their face.
Right.
They should be treating me. They should be treating me good anyway, just because I'm a person, and then they'll find out who I am, and they'll let me go. I'm sure that was Rambo's thinking, right? He didn't plan on having a psychotic break.
Yeah.
Right. So I think maybe that addresses what you were asking earlier.
That's a good. No, you're right. I can absolutely apply that. Like I can see that.
Because all they had to do is just leave him alone, put him in the cage, lock him up. We'll submit his info, find out who he is, and then that's it, right? But instead, Jackass is like, oh no, shave him clean and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But the idea here that we would take what starts as, again, a fairly self-contained story and not only franchise it, because whatever, you can just franchise anything, but to see where it ended up and when I look at the most recent film that just came out a couple months ago, I mean, as a fan of especially this film, but even the rest of them, I've said before, like I celebrate the whole catalog. I can find something to like in all of them. I was I was horrified
Really?
by Last Blood, and I was and the reason why I was like Stallone should know this character. Like
Well, so can I back it up a little bit?
Yeah.
So tell me, because this movie is so different than the others.
yes.
Can you tell me about your feelings on the whole franchise? Like, what is it about this character and the different stories that he's plugged into that you've connected with for so long, that this is one of your truly like top beloved movies?
Yeah.
And then I am curious to hear you expound a little bit more about why 5 feels separate for you.
I mean, I think the through line that's carried throughout, even as the films got increasingly cartoonish and whatever, is you have a man who's trying to rediscover his humanity, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a sense of, I will fight back if you push me. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to push me. Please don't push me. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that notion of righteous vengeance is woven in throughout. And I think it's used effectively in the previous films. I think it's used in a very cheap way in the new film.
Okay.
Right? And so when we look at the first sequel, First Blood Part 2, which is directed by George Cosmatos, although I think pretty much it's accepted that it was really directed by Sylvester Stallone. And George P. Cosmatos also did Cobra. Okay. And he also did Tombstone.
Right. Oh, which was another...
That's another like ghost-directed situation.
Right. By the star.
By Kurt Russell. That's right.
Kurt Russell, yeah.
So it's sort of like accepted, and he's passed away a couple of years ago, so I don't want to speak ill of him, but
right.
That's pretty much accepted wisdom that he was brought on to be in essence a ghost director.
Okay.
But I think between movie 1 and movie 2 of Rambo, we saw the country's the cultural mood surrounding Vietnam and veterans change, right? Mm-hmm. Vietnam went from, oh, that's a horrible thing that we should never have been involved in, and we've learned our lesson, right? Mm-hmm. To, by the middle of the 80s, jingoism was on a rise, and Vietnam was now being viewed through the retrospective lens of, if they would have, if the bureaucrats would have just let us do our job, we would have won, right? And we see that reflected in Rambo's monologue at the end of this film. But I think that's brought into, existence in movie 2, which is literally, the movie, it starts with Rambo is in prison, and Colonel Trotman was played by Richard Crenna, who we haven't been introduced to yet, but he's like, we need you to go on a mission and do this. And Rambo's like, do we get to win this time?
Right.
And Trotman says, this time it's up to you, right? So in other words, all it would have taken to win Vietnam is just the right guy with an unlimited arsenal, right? Mm-hmm. And you look at that, and obviously I can't speak with the perspective as a veteran, but I wonder if veterans would be vaguely insulted by that, right? Because I think a story like that is great to make America feel good about itself, but I don't know if it's something that's going to make veterans feel good about themselves.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Right. So the second Rambo comes out in '85, and that's in the midst of, Stallone was like full on, rah rah go USA, because Rocky IV was right around then, right? Now, I think the second Rambo, which by the way is the first draft of which was written by James Cameron.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, how much of the final product is his then?
I think the structure is his.
Okay.
But the Cameron version, which was called First Blood to the Rescue. Mm-hmm. First Blood Part 2, not First Blood to the Rescue.
right.
It's like we're calling Stallone's character First Blood now, like we just.
Right. Did Braveheart run away?
Yeah, exactly.
Did Payback run away?
It's not that. First Blood Part 2, the Rescue. So that it's instead of Rambo being in prison, he's in a sanitarium.
Oh.
Right. So the connective tissue would have been a little stronger. The idea that he's had a psychotic break, which kind of makes sense, right? Like the notion that he's cracking rocks in a prison after everything that's happened in this film does feel a little bit like it feels incongruous, right? But I think by that point in his career, Stallone was in full superstar mode, and so he was actively looking for franchises.
Right.
And other than Rocky, First Blood was the biggest hit he'd had. You know, and Rambo, the second Rambo was, I mean, for as much money as First Blood made, Rambo like doubled that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a huge hit. Like, it's impossible to emphasize what a cultural force Rambo was in the mid-'80s.
Yeah. I mean, for as violent and adult as these movies are, I had a Rambo play kit.
Yeah.
Like, I had that whatever jewel that he has around his neck thing and the headband. Like, it was a kit that came together. And the knife. I had the plastic version of the knife, which is bonkers.
It really is. You know?
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh. These booby traps that he's set up for these officers, and he's got these...
It's bad.
This sharp sticks that on some sort of, like, pendulum that is just whacked in this guy's legs. Ugh.
Well, and that's the thing is that most of these deputies, they don't deserve that.
No.
It's not their fault.
I mean, the point he yells out, I think here in a minute, is like, I could have killed all of you. Like, it's almost like he was proving a point. Like, I had the drop on all of you and I let you all live. Even though this one is way more brutal than some of the others.
Right.
Although that one guy could have almost died when he was standing there in front of him and then drops.
Yes.
We got a guy tied up here.
Yeah, the one guy who got pinched in those spikes, that was Michael Talbot, who he later went on to be on the series Miami Vice. That's what I knew him from.
I like this moment where Rambo's covered in leaves and mud and he's got the knife to Dennehy's neck and he's like, let it go.
Yeah, and see what Rambo says right there, in town you're the law, out here it's me. Right?
Yeah.
Now, if we view that through the prism of Morell's novel, which is Teasel is sort of the American military, and Rambo is a native, right? It's like it's just more than they bargained for, right? And I think that idea, it's again, it removes that element of malevolence from Teasel, but it's just he just got into something that he didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
You know,
and now you can't let it go. You can't let this guy.
Yes, right.
Just out in the wild. Yeah,
right. I mean, that's what we see all along, right? There were so many steps along the way where you could have sort of pulled out of the dive. And then at some point, like you said, well, now there's no way. We can't just have this guy traipsing around the woods with a sword-looking knife, you know?
Yeah, with a sweet, sweet knife. Love that knife.
Yeah, I remember I had a Rambo action figure. I had 2 Rambo action figures in the 80s.
I did too.
Yeah.
I had one, yeah.
They came with all the stuff, man. He had a rocket launcher and an M60 and he had the knife.
There was a turning point that happened in our lives. I think in the culture, you know.
It's like a 7-year-old should not know what an M60 is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's got the Uzi.
I had one.
Yeah, he had a Uzi. You know.
Yeah, I definitely had a toy Uzi. I know we've talked about this. Wait, so no, and there was also an animated series.
Yes.
With Rambo. So which I think the action figures were based on, and what was the premise of that?
The premise was to make money. I mean,
well, no. I mean, what was the show? Do you know, like, what were his adventures?
So the show was, it was in essence, trying to capture some of G.I. Joe's mojo.
Okay.
So you had Rambo, and he was a member of a group called the Force of Freedom. Whenever some emergency would turn up, Colonel Trotman would pick up his emergency phone and he'd say, "Get me Rambo."
Right.
And Rambo, every episode is like fishing, or he's like, taking pictures of deer and stuff. Like, it's very funny,
Right.
He's like building houses for the poor,
Uh-huh.
and then him and his team would go, and the villain is a group called Savage.
Mm-hmm.
This is like Cobra.
Oh, that's okay.
And the leader of Savage is a guy named General Warhawk. Which, with a name like that, yeah, you're going to be like a world-conquering terrorist guy,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel bad for John and Mary Warhawk, frankly. I think they expected better of their son.
Right. Wait, did his team have a talking animal on it?
That's the only thing that was missing.
For it being in this 80s cartoon series.
That was the only thing missing. Because the bad guy team had like a ninja, and like there was like a terrible Arab stereotype who looked like the Iron Sheik,
Right. Right.
And it was trying to be G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Okay.
And just to put this in perspective, I put on an episode of that cartoon for my kids just out of curiosity, and my oldest was like, "What is this?" He's like, "They made a Rambo cartoon?" Like, he knows Rambo.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, even he knew better. That's
so here's Richard Crenna as Colonel Trotman. Now, Crenna was a last-minute replacement for Kirk Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirk Douglas was supposed to play the role. In fact, the reason why Crenna is wearing that trench coat is because he's wearing Kirk Douglas's costume, and it didn't fit right.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
It does. Well, and so the story there is Kirk Douglas wanted the ending from the book.
Uh-huh.
That was his whole deal, right? And when you think about it, Kirk Douglas's presence in this film was meant to sort of give it this added level of credibility.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Alec Guinness in Star Wars,
Yes. Yeah.
And so Kirk Douglas is like, well, it should end. I should kill Rambo at the end, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the book. I knew Rambo died, but Troutman kills him.
Yes. So he puts him down like a dog, basically.
Wow. Okay.
Right. It's very interesting because the story construction in the book is much darker.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Stallone's original conception of Rocky was much more cynical, where Mickey is like kind of a shady operator, and Mickey tells Rocky to take a dive, and it's real dark.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the original the book of The Natural is same thing. It's much darker, where it doesn't have that sort of Hollywood ending, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when it came time to do the movie, there were lots of changes that they were mulling, and they hadn't fully decided on the ending, because they did in fact shoot an ending of this film where Rambo dies.
Oh wow. Okay.
But Stallone was like leaning pretty heavily in not doing that, right? And so ultimately, Kirk Douglas was like, if you don't want to do that ending, I don't want to do the movie. And they were like, all right, well, nice working with you, I guess,
That's kind of amazing. Well, I guess maybe not. I mean, that's ultimately what's going to live on, so the ending's very important. But when you have someone that, like you say, that's going to add that much credibility to your movie, and you're willing to let them go, it's like, wow, they really believed in their vision.
Well, and it's supposedly Kirk Douglas met Stallone later in the decade and said something to the effect of like, well, you made the right decision, but I still would have preferred the other ending.
That's a fun conversation. At least they get to have that
and by the way, Kirk Douglas is in Oscar.
Oh, I forgot about that movie. All I know is it's a Sylvester Stallone comedy.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
At the time, it was the first high-profile Sylvester Stallone comedy.
Is that about the same time that Schwarzenegger started doing comedies?
That was one of those times. Yeah.
Wow. Look at that knife. That knife just can do anything, Zachy.
Yes.
Just killed himself a boar, and now he's eating it in a cave.
So this moment here, and then we get Trotman contacting Rambo. So in the book, the relationship that this movie establishes between them doesn't really exist.
Mm-hmm.
So the book says that, yes, he did train him, he did recruit him, but Rambo barely remembers him. Right? And when you know, after this conversation, Rambo's inner monologue is like, oh, this guy's just a bastard. Like, he turns against his own kind, meaning soldiers.
Right.
So what this movie shows, not just from Rambo's perspective, but from Trauben's perspective, Trauben's like, I'm here to get my boy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe,
which I love.
Yeah.
I really the ending where they finally get to see each other again. I was happy to see Rambo have one person in the world who understands him.
Yes.
You know, and that he has some sort of his walls come down a bit, and it's tender and nice to see.
Yeah, and I think it's necessary, right? Because
Yeah.
that moment is so important because we in the audience, I think, need to feel vindication for being on Rambo's side.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when he has that emotional release, I mean, it's a release for the audience too.
Mm-hmm.
But that in and of itself creates this whole, you know, like, by establishing a deeper relationship, it makes the ending of the book less palatable, which is, oh, this is a guy. It's like, I trained this dog and he got loose, and you know, I got to put him down now.
Right.
Right. That doesn't work in the context of the character relationship that's built up in this film.
Right.
You know, and there's a very sad moment, right? We're coming up where, you know, he's listing all the names of the people, and he's like, oh, everyone's dead.
Yep.
Everyone's dead now, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I like this moment where he finally has someone he feels he can talk to. I mean, he won't even speak to those officers in the station,
Yeah.
or state his case or anything, but here now he has someone he can talk to and talk about men they both know.
And there's, I mean, you know, for as, you know, he says right there, he's like, Delmar Barry, he got himself killed in Nam and didn't even know it, you know?
Yeah.
There's just something so sad about that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is, you know, there's the perception of Rambo as sort of this grunting monosyllabic caveman.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I mean, he's not, you know, Laurence Olivier here, but like, he speaks, and he, you know, it's funny because by the time we get to the third film, you have Rambo dropping one-liners.
Right.
And there's something weirdly incongruous about that.
I always wondered when that started. You know, like having the action hero. I mean, I guess James Bond was doing that, wasn't he? Like
James Bond. James
60s.
Bond was well, if you want to go back into history, like the Spartans did that, like back way back in the day. Because historically, the Spartans were known as like the greatest warriors, but they were also philosophers, and they were known for their wit.
Interesting.
So they'd be like, stab you with a spear and be like, "Hey, stick around," or whatever. But
Really? I mean, probably not that specifically.
Yeah, but basically, yes.
The spirit of that?
yes,
Wow. Do you get my point?
yeah, exactly.
You know, like,
You know, but Rambo.
I'll be darned. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's a bonus trivia right there.
Yep.
So they drew First Blood. This, you know, the montage of scenes from movies where they say the title of the movie.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the best Family Guy clips.
That's right.
And that's why they need, or that something about, like, that's why Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
That's right.
Like, what?
But I mean that title, I think, says a lot, right? It's that, like, whoever draws first blood is the aggressor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Rambo is not the aggressor.
Right.
That, you know, I think that's what makes the whole thing work, and I think that's the problem when we get to movie 5, Well, movie 4 too, which is not exactly. I mean, that's the funny part. Movie 5 is so ridiculously violent that it makes,
Right.
in retrospect, you think of the fourth one as like The Sound of Music, and it's not that.
See, that's funny because I remember 4 being ridiculously.
I remember
violent.
watching
That's
4
where I stopped.
as
Yeah.
as a 30-year-old and being like, "Oh my god!"
I know.
I remember watching that movie being like, "I did not know the human body contained that much blood."
I know. All I remember too is the main moment that sticks in my head is there's this missionary who's like, I will not resort to violence. And then at the end he like smashes a guy's head in with a rock and then looks up and sees Rambo and like waves at him like, thank you for teaching me your way.
Rambo kind of gives him like a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, worth mentioning, right? That David Morrell was horrified by the fifth film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he put he tweeted about it. He's like, I'm embarrassed to have my name on this movie.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with it. And isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, to break bad on your own character like that. But I mean, he obviously has a sense of the inner life of this character, even as the character, as depicted on screen, was very far removed from his print origins.
That's what I find interesting because I feel like he already had sort of departed from his vision
Yes.
significantly over 4 films. So it's interesting that this 5th one is the one that finally made him speak out.
Well, and worth mentioning that the novelizations of Rambo 2 and Rambo 3 were written by David Morrell.
No kidding. Oh, that's kind of fascinating. Actually.
Yeah, and I wonder-
did he add his own spin to anything, or did he kind of follow the films? Do you know?
He obviously, in the sense, like, he didn't try to undo the end of his novel.
No.
Right.
But I mean, I guess trying to add what he imagines his interior is, whether or not that's what the film.
Yes. So I have not read the novel of Rambo 3, but I have read the novel for Rambo for the second one, which, just saying that, it sounds kind of funny. I read it back in the day when, like, that's like how Bart reads the
Yes,
Itchy and Scratchy the movie.
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah,
That's right.
with Batman and all that. Yeah.
But he has a sense of the character's voice, right? Mm-hmm. And I again what he said this very much about all of them. He's like, look, all of the films are about, we have to work up to Rambo acting out, like that righteous vengeance has to be earned.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the fifth movie deploys it is very cynical and very calculated. And it was very funny because watching that film, it ended, and I was talking to somebody, and I was like, I don't feel like it was John Rambo. It could have been John Smith, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
And then
right,
and
right,
Morrell
yeah.
said the exact same thing.
Really?
Completely.
Oh, wow.
He literally said, like, it could have been John Smith, and it wouldn't have made a difference.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's a specific, not just like temporal milieu, but I think like geographic milieu that the character works in. And I think when you have him in like everyday, like normal clothes, like just like murdering people in Mexico,
Right.
you're kind of like, well,
right.
this is just kind of effed up. And it's how is this different from the Taken films or something?
Right. Wait, can you now? Oh, good.
No, good.
So, I mean, we've sort of alluded to it when you've talked about deleted scenes, but so after we had that moment with him on the walkie with Troutman, it's like this nice seeing the humanity of this character again, rather than just sort of this, person who's not talking, going through the woods, being tactical and hurting people.
Yeah.
And so apparently there was a cut of this movie that was double the length that Sylvester Stallone hated. Right? Have you read this?
I have not, actually.
Oh, so apparently he hated the first cut, and he and his agent tried to buy it back and have it destroyed.
Really?
Yeah, and so what they did was they cut a lot of his part out and let the others reacting to him tell the story, and got it down to like this 90-minute version we have now, and then that ended up being the version that on a talk show recently promoting Rambo 5 said is his favorite Rambo story, and one that he wouldn't change one thing about. I just found that kind of...
Well, and yeah, it is about 90 minutes, and it's lean and mean, and it doesn't need to be anything else, right?
No, yeah, I agree.
I mean, and I think to some extent that reveals the limitations of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. I mean, when you really think about it, the fact that they got, four, five. I mean, I'll include, but the fact that they got this many films out of it is a testament to how good the first one was.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
I always say this, right? Like, the measure of how good your first movie is how many bad sequels people are willing to put up with.
We tolerate, yeah.
Yeah, right? That's why we've had however many Terminator sequels. That's why we've had however many bad Transformers movies, because I think people genuinely liked the first one.
Yep.
I think with Rambo, it tells you something, that this one did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
The second one did really well. And then the third one didn't do that well.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, it reminds me of Terminator, actually.
Right? But these things came out in 3-year intervals, right? So 82, 85, 88.
Mm-hmm.
And by movie 3, within 6 years, the franchise had sort of burned out.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Because, you basically did everything you could do with him in the second movie.
Like Terminator.
Yeah, it's very similar, right? Because in the third movie, I've talked about this on the regular show, but he's in Afghanistan, and he's fighting with the Mujahideen against the Russians, and that at the time, Glasnost was like happening, so we were already sort of making peace with the Russians, so that was a little weird, and then by the time 2001 and rolls around and the Taliban are sort of interwoven with the Mujahideen. That film is just kind of this weird, kind of embarrassing artifact,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the third Rambo film, it ended with a card that said, "This film is dedicated to the Mujahideen of Afghanistan."
Mm-hmm.
And they, after 9/11, they changed it to say this film is dedicated to the gallant people of Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like.
Right.
Because the Mujahideen ended up becoming the Taliban, etc. Right?
Because otherwise you'd have to get Leonard Maltin to have a piece before. That's right. Now you see. Yeah.
But I mean, this is the thing, right? Is look at where Rambo ended the decade, right? He starts as this damaged person who's just trying to find a place for himself, and by movie 3, he's America's answer to global problems.
Right.
Like, we'll just parachute Rambo and he'll fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, again, you've turned him into, literally, you've turned him into an action figure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that was not the intent.
Right.
So you move so far afield of that. And that's what I find fascinating about the franchise, right? That's why I say, like, I can find something to like. I'm just sort of amused by how much rope they were able to weave out of a very small amount of thread.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I guess, it speaks to the character. Like, you realize you can plug this interesting guy into a bunch of different scenarios, but you just get further and further away from what he's really about. Yeah,
I mean, again, like, in the other one, in the third one, he's got the one-liners, right? So, like, there's a
right, which I've never seen, by the way.
So the third one, which I recently revisited for an article I wrote, and it's essentially Troutman is captured by the Russians in Afghanistan, so that's why Rambo is forced to go in, because he needs to rescue his friend. And there's this bit where after he rescues him, spoiler, he rescues him. Troutman's like, "Johnny, sorry I keep getting you involved in this." And Rambo's like, "No, you're not." And it's just it's a very quippy kind of line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's amusing, but it doesn't feel like something Rambo would say,
Yeah.
He's like, "No, you're not. Come on, let's kill all these guys now."
right. So I think this is the scene, right, where we see Teasels?
Yes. Yeah, the medals. Right
medals in the background from the Korean War.
So I'm curious about your perspective in general, because you came to this movie much later.
Yes.
So I mean, how do you plug into it? You know, because your experience with the Rambo franchise, as you mentioned, was primarily like, hey, I have the action play kit.
Right. Well, I think so. When I think of Rambo, I remember probably First Blood Part 2 Rambo. Like that poster of him with like a missile launcher or something in his arms.
Yes.
You know, and the cartoon, and he's got no shirt on, and he's just blowing, like, you know, like, so he's sort of like an action figure, like you said earlier, to me.
Yeah.
And so you were the one who got me to watch First Blood, and I was surprised that it was not at all what I had, the image of him from my youth. You know,
right.
Where it's actually this character drama, and then by the end, I mean, even rewatching it last night, I started tearing up from the drama of the last scene, and that's not what me as a kid. That's not what I thought of as Rambo. So I was happy to finally have seen this movie and know where this all started. You know, so it's fascinating to see where it went, but be like, oh yeah, this all started with like a pretty, well-made character drama. So it's very different from, so just to say, like, yeah, the Rambo iconography in my head still probably doesn't even line up with this movie. I was reminded of how good this movie was when I rewatched it for this commentary.
Well, and to your point, I mean, there was like a subgenre of post-Vietnam movies in that era, right? The late 70s. And you had like The Deer Hunter and Coming Home, and and First Blood was part of that group, right? And so the notion, it's like making Deer Hunter 2, The Revenge.
Right.
That's what's so kind of bananas, right?
See, okay, so you saying that, when I think of Rambo, I think of Deer Hunter 2, The Revenge. Right? Like that's
right.
Where it was introduced to me as a boy through images at the video store or TV or the cartoons or whatever. So then you introducing me to the Deer Hunter is like, oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is you saw that turn because post Rambo, I mean, Rambo is where the entire disposition of the Vietnam War and how it was talked about in the public sphere completely shifted. And then in the wake of these films, you get Missing in Action and the whole Chuck Norris
Totally.
right. So everything changed,
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, look online. There's like a whole trajectory of Rambo ripoff movies that were all pretty bad, but they just sprang up in the wake of these movies' success.
Yep. I like the scene, by the way. Any scene with Troutman and Dennehy's character together, I really enjoy. Especially because it feels like Troutman at first feels like the trailer guy. Where it's just like,
we're
going to bring him in. He's like, oh, you don't know. He's a one-man wrecking crew you don't want to mess with. God didn't make him. I did. Like he's, like he feels like that trailer blurb just to keep building up what he's capable of. And so I enjoyed this scene a lot.
Yeah. And well, especially the fact that Troutman knows that Rambo's still alive, right?
Yeah. It's funny. I wish I had. Oddly, this DVD I'm playing doesn't have subtitles.
Okay.
So I wish I could cite some of the dialogue here, but I can't. But Dennehy is just so relentless at first in his pursuit of him, but it's kind of nice seeing these moments where he sort of realizes what he's up against a little bit.
Right.
He's sort of conceding a little.
That's right. Yeah, because Dennehy's like, well, there's no like I got, it's all in the past anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
So he softens a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, kind of interesting. We're talking about the Reagan connection. Richard Crenna, shortly before he died, played Ronald Reagan.
Oh, interesting.
In a movie called The Day Reagan Was Shot.
I know that title. I have no idea why. Was that like a...
It's like a TV movie.
I was going to say, that might even just be a TV movie. It feels like funny, too. I had been talking about Miracle Mile earlier. Just going down a rabbit hole of articles about it, I saw that there were a bunch of TV movies about nuclear war in the early 80s.
Right.
And people remember them like they were events. Like everyone saw them because those were the channels everyone had.
Like the day
It's funny that TV movies now, you may or may not catch them, but those were almost events as well.
Yeah, TV movies used to be a thing. I mean, now it's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crenna died very shortly after that. I think 2003 he passed away. And I think the shame of it is that his absence was felt, in both the fourth and the fifth Rambo films. I mean, the fourth one does, in spirit, sort of incorporate him.
Yeah.
But I think that relationship is such a key one, right? Like when you lose Colonel Trautman, then Rambo is sort of adrift as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to what I was saying, with the fifth film. Like, well, what makes him Rambo?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could have been any generic Sylvester Stallone action character, and it feels like they just use that IP,
right,
to sort of get a few more people in the seats.
And
I
like this, by the way, the leaping onto the truck. And
yes, well, and the fact that he doesn't kill this guy.
Yeah,
he's like, hey, get out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean that's sort of like movie shorthand. You have to do stuff the save the cat moments.
Save the cat, yeah.
And
then you have the guy earlier who falls out of the helicopter. He has to kick the dog.
Yes.
So we don't care that he falls out of a helicopter.
Exactly right. Now bear in mind, by this time in the book, Rambo had been on a killing spree.
Right.
He was killing all kinds of friendlies, and so that made the ending more necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Stallone, to his credit, has an instinctive understanding, oftentimes, of those types of things in story construction. He doesn't get nearly enough credit for being a very good writer.
Right. Yeah.
Even
I didn't realize how much he had written his own movies. Like that's something I feel like I learned recently.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every movie he's written.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I only think of it with the first Rocky, really, but that's just not the case.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote Creed 2, for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. This was just a random tidbit I had written down. I forgot I'd written down, but I thought this was really interesting. So some of the screams when Rambo enters the police officers, those are used in the arcade game Golden Axe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's a very weird lineage to have.
Yeah, I read that right before we got on air, and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna go on YouTube and look that up. That is so weird. But I remember that game.
Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah, that was an NES game, right?
Yeah.
Now here, when you think about it, they think Rambo's dead, right? He could have just snuck away.
They thought he blew up in that mine. Yeah.
He could have just ridden things out a little while and just snuck away. But
I was so frustrated because I thought I knew that wasn't what was going to happen, but when he got in the vehicle, I felt like here it is. This is where he could get away.
So let me turn it around on you. Why does he do that?
Why does he do what?
Why does he decide to go back into town?
I didn't think about it. I mean, I guess now he has an adversary.
Yes.
And he's as we said, he's activated and he has an enemy.
Now he has something to prove.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It's funny too. I'm not thinking of this scene specifically, but earlier, particularly in the woods, when when you're framing a movie and you're in like a building, you find these dynamic ways, or like a courtroom scene or this or that or whatever, you find these dynamic ways to sort of frame your shots. And in the woods, it's sort of like you're just working with where you are. You got to kind of figure it out. And I thought it was interesting where movies cut so much now and there's so much handheld and you sort of cut the movie with the footage you've accrued. And in this movie where there's much less cutting, there has to be more emphasis on framing and making just police officers talking to each other in the woods interesting enough to look at that it holds your attention without cutting a lot. And I was noticing that. I was sort of admiring the framing in this movie.
Yeah,
which a lot of older films had to do,
Just out of necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah. Now, so having seen this movie but not remembering it incredibly well, when we got to this point now where he's in the city and he blows up the gas station, I was like, Rambo, no. Please.
And yeah, and I mean, he goes ballistic, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's there's something really interesting happening there in terms of the audience's own identification of the character. Like, how much of this are we willing to be okay with?
Yeah, and this is where he lost me. You know, because I was like, who's in that gas station?
See, not me. I was like, kill them all. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I don't want him to die. Like, I didn't, you know, but I want him to be stopped.
Yes.
Like, I've been rooting the whole time for him to evade these people, and now I'm like, oh, he needs to be stopped. Like, he's blowing up an entire town, you know? Like,
Yeah.
He's beyond the pale at this point, and he just needs to be taken in.
And that's the thing, you know. It's. I think by making Sheriff Teasle a, you know, not evil person, it makes you more invested in sort of like, how is this all going to end? Mm-hmm. You know, because I think had Rambo killed Teasle in the film, that would be a bridge too far.
Oh yes, yeah, we wouldn't be able to accept that.
Right. And again, in the book, both Teasle and Rambo die. Right? In other words, Morell's saying something there, which is like, nobody wins in a situation like this.
Well, and what were you gonna say?
No, that's it.
No, so again, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but not get too into it. But in this moment, like I said, this is where the character of Rambo is starting to lose me, and I'm getting worried for the people in the town. But then they have that scene where him and Troutman are able, you know, he's able to sort of explain everything that he's feeling and all the loss he's experienced, and it's unfair what he's been turned into, and like, what do you expect from me, kind of a speech. And I found myself completely back with him. It doesn't excuse anything he's done, but I was like, this guy's damaged. Like, it makes sense. Whether none of this is acceptable, but you re-understand who the man is, and then I was immediately like back to feeling completely bad for this person and like wanting him to be helped.
So
he didn't convert to the dark side per se.
Right.
Like, he's not. You know what I mean?
Stipulate that shooting up a town is never a good idea.
Never. Everything he's doing here is wrong. But they did a really good job of getting me to empathize with him again after I thought I'd lost it with him.
Well, and the fact that the movie basically makes sure to say, like, the town has been evacuated and there's no one there, and, you know, and one presumes that Rambo knows that.
You'd hope. It's still unacceptable to be blowing up car lots and, you know,
I mean,
shooting into police stations and stuff.
There's a moment earlier in the film. Well, we see there's a few, right? Number one, when he tells that guy, "Hey, get out of here!" But like, there's a kid, right? And he pins him in the forest.
Yes.
And then he lets him go, right? And those are put in there to give us a sense of like, okay, this guy knows, like, what line he can't cross, right? And so I think by establishing that line, you're able to buy the sort of rampage in this last scene.
Yes.
Which is him. It's essentially Rambo being like, all right, everyone is gone. I'm going to mess up this guy's life now.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I'm going to give him a hell of a thing to explain.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. This. Because I remember he gets pinned. I remembered he got pinned, but I did not remember him taking down the whole city. I was like, oh no.
Yes, right.
Oh, and then something we passed by, but I did want to bring up. I like that moment in the tent where the sheriff is with the state police.
Yes.
And the sheriff's officer comes in and says, well, the guys were being kind of jerks to him.
Yes, right.
And I thought that was kind of an important
and
moment.
the guy's like, assholes.
Yeah, the state guy. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you need a moment like that.
Agreed.
You know? And that's, I mean, like, we're at this, by this point in the movie, it's one-on-one, right? Mm-hmm. And Dennehy has this world weariness where, as we said earlier, like, this is a fight that he inadvertently caused, and now he has to see it through. Mm-hmm. So again, look at the macro view: America in Vietnam.
Right.
We didn't mean for this to happen. Now we're stuck. We got to figure out a way out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, the playing board is the city, and now it's just mano a mano,
Yeah.
and him shooting out the lights. Being really tactical.
And
I think he doesn't know where he is yet, right? He's making sure that then he's at a disadvantage, and then he's like kind of snuffs him out.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we see this sort of the storytelling conceit of Rambo stalking his prey. We see it repeated in all of the films to some extent, right? And the interesting thing is that the further along the series gets, the more unstoppable he becomes. And so it's sort of like watching people being hunted by the alien or something,
Right.
The Predator.
Right.
And I think what this film really does, and when you look at Rambo himself, his physicality, he's not the muscle bound behemoth that he is in the second one, especially the third one, where Stallone looks amazing in movie 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive, sort of physical engineering, but I mean here he's just like a fit guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't even look like he does in the Rocky movies in this.
I didn't think about it, but yeah, you're right.
You look at him in Rocky 3 compared to his physique in First Blood, very different.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting about Sylvester Stallone, right? Because he made a choice to go down the action hero path.
Right.
When you really think about it, from the first Rocky, he could have been another Al Pacino.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and it seems that we talk about these movies that didn't hit. I mean, they weren't all action films, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, Rhinestone it was a choice anyway.
Right. Well, and excuse me, I remember years ago Copland
Yes.
being called out as a good role for him. It wasn't like an action film, right? It was like a
Yes.
drama,
Which you
Stallone
have
showing his
still
chops.
not seen, right?
I need to watch it.
Copland, I always recommend Copland. Yeah, James Mangold did that. I mean, he is a capable actor. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he spent a big chunk of the '80s just cashing out on all the doors that Rambo opened. But I think that as a result, he didn't do the types of films that might have really been more beneficial.
Sure.
In terms of his perception, right?
Yeah. That's tough, because I mean, if a thing's working for you and you're a worldwide icon because of it, it's so funny you can't map those things.
You just don't know.
You just you see where the dice lands.
I mean, that Beverly Hills Cop was offered to him first,
which is so hard to imagine.
Right?
I mean, that movie is Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Yeah, it would have been an entirely different thing. Oh man.
And that's why he ended up doing Cobra.
Oh, really? Cobra, I have no memory of Cobra except seeing it at a friend's sleepover when I was far too young, and like a guy gets knifed in a bed, and I was like, ah!
Yep.
Only thing I remember about that movie.
What's funny about Cobra is it's based on a novel called Fair Game.
Okay.
Which
not the Cindy Crawford movie with one of the Baldwins?
Well, no. Yes.
What?
Same novel is the source for both Cobra and...
Stop!
I'm not making that up.
I didn't know that.
Yes. But here's the funny thing, though, is the novel Fair Game, when Cobra was released, they reissued it. And Stallone, the balls on this guy, he wanted them to reissue the novel with himself credited as co-author.
Of the novel?
Of the novel that Cobra is based on.
So not the novelization, but the novel.
The novel.
Oh, wow.
That's some iron cast balls right there.
Yeah.
Right. So right here.
Yeah.
So Teasel is out of commission, right? but
falling through the skylight.
that's rough.
Yep.
But right here, Rambo might end him, right? And I think
could.
he could. And I think
Yep.
we as the audience, that's the line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we would be okay with that.
No.
So the question is, had Trotman not come in, would he have done that? Would he have done it? Right?
I don't know. I would like to think no.
Yeah.
But I think in my own mind, my headcanon, I would like to think that he just wanted to prove a point. Like, got you.
Yeah. See, I honestly, I think that Rambo's so far gone at this point that his goal is suicide by cop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
I can see that.
Because certainly with the the monologue that's coming up here, that's where his head is at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have nothing to live for.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, there's something very poignant about that, right? Trotman is a stand-in for the United States, and he's like, you did this. I did what you asked me to do.
Right.
I did everything you asked for. And what do I get as a result of that?
Right. Like spit on at an airport.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then, yeah, this is such a, like I said, I mean, this was where I was like, he had lost me as a character.
right.
But hearing this speech, it doesn't undo anything he's done, but I'm like, oh, this guy. I mean, this guy's been through something and he's grappling with it. And I teared up, like I said, as he was giving this speech. I mean, I feel really bad for what this human being has been through and what it's turned him into.
Well, and I think what makes it so much more effective, I mean, he is yelling, right?
Yeah.
And Stallone has kept his performance in sort of like neutral for the whole movie, right?
Yes.
And then suddenly, it's just like he can't even contain all the conflict inside of him, right? And it just comes sort of bubbling out. And I think that's what makes it work, right?
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, this entire monologue, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of components to it too. Saying, over there, I'm in charge of $1 million equipment.
Right.
And I come over here and they won't even let me like wash cars or whatever he says.
Right.
And then also there's also a personal component to it, talking about his friends and all the plans they had made.
Right.
And then having his own best friend blown up in front of him and having to pick the pieces of his buddy off of him.
Yeah.
And apparently that was a true story that was told to Stallone by a war veteran.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So when you hear that story, it's so horrifying, and you're kind of half visualizing as he's telling it. You're like, well, no wonder this guy's so messed up.
Well, and not just that. I mean, for all the slings and arrows Stallone has taken over the years, you can't watch his performance in this scene and say he's a bad actor.
No, I mean, like I said, it totally emotionally got me. I mean, it's really seeing this guy who, it has this exterior and is so tough. Break like this it's kind of hard to watch.
It is, and the second film sort of ends with the Trotman is like, Rambo, don't hate your country, and Rambo does this stoic thing where he's like, I just want our country to love us like we love it, and it feels like you get what Stallone was going for, but it feels very comical when contrasted with just the raw intensity of this.
Yes.
It feels like, okay, we need another thing like that.
Yep.
Looking
at his anguished face right here.
Yes.
And it reminds me too of it's very different, but in Rocky when Mickey leaves his apartment and he's yelling all his frustrations out. There's something so interesting about Stallone where you buy this hurt. Yeah. And he can have, I mean, sometimes it's like the 80s had this tough guys don't cry sort of thing with these action heroes, but so him doing it is almost doubled.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Because it's believable and you're like, oh, this poor guy.
Yeah. So the ending that they shot, it was an alternate ending. It would have been here. Okay. Where in essence he's trying to get Trotman to shoot him and Trotman won't do it. And basically Rambo grabs his hand with a gun in it and makes him shoot. And we just see him slump to the floor and he dies.
Oof, and you can be a lot.
Right. So you can see this on YouTube, and you watch it, and it just like this moment right here. Look at the tenderness here, right?
I know.
As
he's wrapping his arms around Trotman, and Trotman seems a little uncomfortable because this is out of his wheelhouse, I think.
Yes,
but he's also sympathetic.
Exactly, right.
And that's sort of the awkward way he puts his hand on his back.
Yeah. You know, and so the idea of Rambo dying at that moment,
yeah,
it would have felt, this is like not a great comparison, but I think we would have felt betrayed, the same way you and I felt when we watched Glass earlier this year, and they kill off Bruce Willis's character.
Yes,
because we were like, that was not the deserved ending.
Yes.
And I think that's the same thing here, where separate from, but you had sequels to make, and you wouldn't be like, if Rambo died, you can do that. But it's like it needed to, the message that the only solution for veterans who are dealing with this is death.
That's a great point. Yeah,
is effing awful, right?
Yep, that's a great point.
That's the absolute wrong message to send. You need to say, no, we need to embrace them. And take them in hand and help them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is right here where that song you were talking about is playing, which is, it's a very like James Horner type thing where you have the song sung to the lyrics are sung to the melody that the composer has already put in place, Yeah,
yeah.
Even though this is Jerry Goldsmith, but I don't know, it's for me. I watched this film and it still resonates with me. I've seen it obviously multiple times. First time I saw it, none of the thematic things that we talked about would have obviously worked for me or been in even the periphery of my experience. But we're coming up on 40 years from the movie's release in a few years, and I think it still has something to say. Yeah.
I know this movie mostly because of you, and so I remember being surprised by it the first time and watching it again last night in preparation for this. I mean, honestly, more as a duty than anything. I was like, okay, let's get ready. Let's do this. I'm really enjoyed revisiting it. I think it's a really potent story, and I felt all the emotions going through it. The thrill of it, but also the tragedy of it.
Well, nice. I mean, I think first of all, I appreciate this one, as occasionally happens on the show. This one was an ask. Where I'm like, hey Brian, how about this? So I'm grateful that you were willing to take the plunge, not once but twice.
Well, absolutely, and I think, but that's the kind of fun thing too. Is this series isn't really even in my periphery.
Yeah.
So it's fun when the movies that are in your friends and the people that you have like overlapping interests and tastes with. It's cool when they put something in front of you and you're like, oh wow, you get to experience something like this you might not have otherwise. So, and maybe some people listening to this will do the same.
Yeah, I'm hoping that people listening who maybe are just listening to hear us talk, which that's nice if that's what you're doing. I hope you do watch the movie, and I hope you do find what we have to say, something that adds to your appreciation of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to wrap up this discussion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we will be back soon with another commentary track. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm hesitant now to say what our next commentary is, because
this one has to happen. Has to happen.
So we will be talking through Revenge of the Sith in preparation for The Rise of Skywalker. So that's coming up soon, and of course we will have another regular movie film show coming up as well. So on behalf of my partner Brian Hall, I want to thank everybody for listening. And if you have any comments or feedback about what we just did as far as First Blood, please let us know. Email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com, or you can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. Also, please go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. And if you're looking for me online, you can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner, ZAKIS Corner. Just add a .com, and that's my website. And of course, Brian is out there doing. What are you doing, Brian?
Oh, I'm in stark contrast with this movie. I'm writing about the adventures of adorable little puppy dogs. So, our holiday episode just is already out there, so you can look that up. with a Christmas episode and a Hanukkah episode. And it's really fun. So,
Well, there we go. And we will be back soon with our next show. So thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time.